welcome to another exciting edition of the Ask an Oando Expert Series. Our topic for discussion today is preparing the next generation of change makers for net zero. My name is Oando, Programs Manager at Oando Foundation. I've had an exciting career in the development sector, spanning over 17 years, working with multinationals and development agencies in the areas of health, education, and the environment. COP28 held in the United Arab Emirates. It's the United Nations climate meeting where governments, industry experts, and climate action activists come together to discuss and profile solutions to the climate crisis to ensure that we do not leave our planet worse than we met it, more so for the younger generation. Nigeria is having its own fair share of the climate crisis with rising sea levels, unpredictable weather conditions that's affecting agriculture and other sectors. The effects are evident. In Nigeria annually, it is estimated that we produce 2.5 million tons of plastic waste, one of the 20 nations that contribute 85% of the plastic wastes that go to the oceans. That's scary. How about the next generation? What kind of planet are we planning to leave behind for them? I think this is where Oando Foundation comes in. So what are we doing as an organization? For those who may not know, Oando Foundation was established by Oando PLC over a decade ago, and our mandate is to support the Nigerian government with basic education, access and quality. And we've done this effectively, supporting over 500,000 children across the 23 states and 88 schools that we work in Nigeria. But recently, we've had a review of our strategy, and we are focusing increasingly on environmental education. And we're doing this because we know that if we're to effect change, it's critical that the younger generation are carried along in the conversations that we're having, so that not only do they pick up skills that are relevant for them to become responsible, so they can be a part of the sustainable world that we're all building together. What role should parents play in educating their children on climate consciousness? I think children learn best by what they observe and what they see, more than what you tell them. And so as parents, I think it's important first to get educated. And this education is not formal education. There's information all over the place about the climate crisis and action, sustainable action that we can take as individuals. Children are very inquisitive. You can almost tell when you engage with them that they already know something about the climate crisis that's ongoing, perhaps not as elaborate as an adult would. So what should parents do? I think you should expose them early to nature. Take them to beaches, to parks where they're available, conservation centers. Can they have potted plants at home for a small home garden? You don't need a lot of space for this. All of this would help the children engage more with nature. And the more they engage with nature, the more inquisitive they become. And that being inquisitive helps them to want to take action. I think for waste management, which is a critical part, a very critical part of the conversation, we always use the 3 R's, and it means reduce, reuse, and recycle. For reduce, we're saying, can you reduce your energy consumption? And there's simple ways that you can do this. Can the bulbs in the house be changed to energy efficient bulbs? Can you teach the children to turn off the switches when they're going out and when it's not in use? Can they turn off the water taps when they're not in use? These are simple things that we can do to reduce energy consumption. Then to reuse. Many of us go shopping almost every weekend or every other day. Can you get a reusable bag that the children can see you use again and again, so that we're not having to use one-time materials that are non-biodegradable and contributing to the climate crisis that we're facing today? And then recycle, or in some cases, upcycle. There are existing materials that we currently use that we can use again or transform to something different. For example, I'll talk about the schools that we support as Oando Foundation under the Clean Our World initiative. But one of the things that you can do as parents is to engage children. Many of us drink from PET bottles today, and you can convert these PET bottles to beautiful flower vases that the children can use. You can get newspapers and make flower vases from them. You can use old clothing that you have at home and transform them to bags or designs for slippers. There's so much that we can do. You can get paper mache and use it for fuel to cook. There's so many things that we can do if only we apply ourselves to doing the things that are necessary. The most important thing is to ensure that the children are engaged, they see you practice these things, and you as the parent are diligent in executing. How can educators introduce recycling to kids in a way that's fun and is engaging? We realize that kids have very short attention span, and it's important to support educators so that they're able to engage with students in a way that's fun and exciting when they're talking about climate change and action that can be taken. At Oando Foundation, this is something that we're proud to have done over the last 3 years through our program called the Clean Our World Project. In Lagos State specifically, we've done this across 24 schools, working with the State Universal Basic Education Board. What do we do under the program? Simply, we've used edutainment as a way of communicating climate change and action to be taken. So we've curated a learning series that's called the Climate Action Superheroes. Each of the superheroes address specific climate issue and propose solutions to that climate issue. Take, for example, Adesua, the Recycle Ranger. She talks about ways that you can use plastic and paper that's no longer useful and transform them into materials that can be reused again. This learning series has helped because it's entertaining and fun. Children are eager to engage with it. So we have the theory session where the children gather for 40 minutes during the lesson period and they're taught. And after that, there's a reward system. Again, emphasizing the need to make it fun and engaging. The best, at the end of the theory session, a quiz is given and the best performing student gets a badge and proudly displays the badge around the school for the entire week to show that they're the best performing student until the next week when there's another lesson series and another student becomes the champion. Again, for the practical sessions, whatever the children come up with as hands-on materials that they've produced, we have an inter-school competition. And with the inter-school competition, we have special awards for the best performing schools that we give to them. This has ranged from refurbishing their early childcare classes to taking them on excursions to see more of nature. The reward is endless. But what we've realized is that a mix of edutainment as a form of lesson delivery, plus reward system for the best performing children, so there's that competition, as well as maintaining over a long period of time consistency in the way that we deliver, has helped us to not just nurture these children, but engender the kind of interest that we never thought we would get. In delivering this program, the attendance rate has not dropped beyond 98% module on module. And that's just because the children are interested. They find it engaging and insightful. And so I would say to educators, start where you are. Use materials that are readily available within your environment. You have school spaces. Convert some of those spaces that are redundant to gardens that children can engage in. They're very excited when they see the things they've planted, when they're able to harvest them and take them home. They're very proud. Materials that they've upcycled, when they take them home, they're very excited. So do everything that you can to make the lessons short, engage their creativity in upcycling. And then within our adopted schools, we have recycling centers. We've partnered with recyclers who come into the school periodically. We encourage the children to bring their PET bottles or plastic materials to the school. The recyclers pick them up and then they reward them with school supplies. It could be notebooks, it could be biros, but just do things that are exciting enough for the children to want to be engaged continually. How can parents and educators utilize technology to support children in learning about the climate situation? I think gamification is a key way. So how do we do this? I think it's time that developers come together to work with environmental educators and climate change contributors or activists to develop games that would help to teach about climate action. Another way is to ensure that whatever you put out has a reward system attached to it outside of the app, so that the children are not just learning theoretically again, but they're having contacts with the outside world and coming back to be rewarded for the work that they've done externally. I know of a young Nigerian girl, 18 years of age, her name is Benedicta Pam, who has developed, it's a game that's called Climate Action. It's a game that helps young people with activities that help to reduce carbon emissions. So they've curated together activities that help to reduce carbon emission in the form of games. We need more developers to be interested in this. But for the interest to rise, we need more people to be socially aware of the crisis with the climate and then become interested to do more than is currently being done. But I agree that this is an area that needs a lot of attention. So what role can community leaders play in engaging children to become environmentally aware? I think community action is at the heart of any lasting social change, and it's no different in this case. Oando Foundation, we prioritize community engagement and participation in our program delivery because we think it's key for sustainability. Under the Clean Our World project, we engage extensively with the community leaders, with the youth groups through various activities that we have lined up. So we have the sensitization and awareness campaigns for them to know about the project and be more sensitized about their environment. We have the cleanup activities that we do, of course, together with the community members. It's just promoting that culture of maintaining the environment. This way, children learn the importance of keeping their environment clean. Are schools currently teaching environmental education as a subject? Our experience at Oando Foundation has shown that not only is environmental education considered an extracurricular activity, there is no standardized way of teaching it. The teachers who are supposed to communicate this knowledge to the children are not skilled themselves in environmental education. And so we see a gap. So what have we done to fill this gap? In Lagos State, we have designed, working with our partner, Green Hub Foundation, we've designed a syllabus and lesson plans that we have used for the 24 schools that we support. And what this document does is it serves as a guide. Of course, using the Climate Action Superheroes as the key text. It serves as a guide for educators, not just to know what to teach, but how to teach it, so that the children gain robust knowledge and are able to put to practice the things that they've learned, because that's the end game. It's not just to teach them. You want them to become responsible and act. In Lagos State, this next phase of the Clean Our World project, we have gotten the approval to produce and distribute this syllabus and lesson plans across all the 1,020 schools in Lagos State. And we have committed to training master trainers who will help to deploy at school level, so that the teachers not only have the materials that they can use to communicate, but they also are trained to effectively communicate. I think if other states can follow suit, not only will we have children who are very responsible and learned and aware, there will be a level of uniformity in the knowledge that's being transferred. And I think this is critical, just like we have in most other subjects. I believe it's been an exciting conversation with you today, and I'd just like to leave you with two thoughts that I'd want you to dwell on. First is that social awareness on climate change is important. It's important because what we're facing is an existential threat. And if action is not taken, then we all will suffer the consequences. So what we have done today, discussing with you, is part of the social awareness that we're trying to create. But I think the next is individual action. What can you do to make our planet safer? What can you do to be more responsible in your engagement with the environment? For this, I'd like to quote Robert Swan. He's a renowned environmental advocate. He says that the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else would save it. no one is coming to save it. If you're not acting and the other person is not acting, then collectively we're not acting, and it means we have failed and will bear the consequences. So what can you do? Back again to what I mentioned earlier. Remember the 3 hours. If you forget everything else, remember the 3 hours. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Thank you for your time today. Until we meet again, it's bye-bye for now.